Me, the last video was 20 minutes of ranting on movies.
Yeah,
Never went back to Endgame.
yeah, I know. It's just that ended up being more of a tangent on
Endgame.
yeah, on the way the superhero film market is right now. Not market, just whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, today we're going to be taking a trip back in time, 2005, no, 2015, 2018, a time when Netflix did seem a bit more promising, a time when the MCU was doing pretty alright, because not perfect, but everyone thought the MCU was doing great right now, because Winter Soldier and Guardians 1 just came out, and Age of Ultron was coming out, everyone was excited, and this is before people started to say, Age of Ultron wasn't as good as the first one. And Daredevil is a show that basically happened during MCU's peak. It happened at the very end of Phase 2, which was basically the most... I would say it was the most happiest era, but no, technically that would be the time Infinity War and Endgame was coming out. So, really now, Daredevil came out at the best period in the MCU's history. Like, in terms of fandom, and I'm not going to say in terms of filmmaking quality and writing, but because Phase 3 has a lot of problematic films when it comes to the writing. But in terms of overall fan base and all that stuff, and its place in culture, it was pretty much at its peak, and which was pretty much significantly gone down in the last phase, but... Anyway, Daredevil is about a Marvel hero not many people know about. He's basically like Spider-Man and Batman. He's a hero who fights in only one city. He has a secret identity. He has personal troubles with girlfriends, friends. He has a tragic backstory with his father dying. And he's blind. And he's a lawyer. You can see already there's a lot of similarities between Spider-Man already, and he even gets trained by someone, and he has like connections to ninjas and stuff. So there's a lot of Spider-Man and Batman here. And at times, yeah, it does kind of feel like just the same thing over and over again. But it is unique how this is a superhero who lost something. Yeah, he got powers, but he also lost his sight. But he was... Another thing is that this superhero is the son of a boxer, so there's actually a reason why he would be decent at fighting as well. Not just because he knows how to box, but also because he was trained, you know, by pretty much a fucking ninja, yeah, this series is pretty much, I would say, apart from Spectacular Spider-Man, is the greatest superhero adaptation of all time. I haven't actually seen The Boys yet, so I can't really say for sure about that, but I do think it's probably up there. But Daredevil is my favorite thing in the MCU. It's directed absolutely amazingly, the cast are perfect, and it's a show that could easily work with or without the MCU. To me, it has the best villain in the MCU with Kingpin,
And Hawkeye.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
this show is fucking dark, but it actually does have a happy ending in the end. This show follows Matt Murdock and Kingpin in the most personal way. In all their good qualities, in all their bad qualities, in all of their doubts, insecurities, they go through depressions, they go through pretty much the worst things someone could go through in this show.
Shouldn't it separate on the TV? Shouldn't it be separated in seasons? As if the whole fucking thing.
It's fine.
What season's the best?
Okay, I'll talk about this one eventually. I want to go over the seasons first. Season 1 follows Daredevil in his, I assume, his first year of crime fighting. So he's a vigilante in New York. He doesn't have his proper suit yet, and Kingpin is someone who's hiding in the shadows. No one knows about him, but he secretly controls, pretty much, well, at least has a major footprint in the criminal underworld, with a lot of ties and everything. And this story is basically a long origin story. In every episode, there's flashbacks to show more of Daredevil's past. And not just Daredevil, but also Kingpin as well. And yeah, this show is brutal, but it's done so well and so real and so sincerely that it's just amazing. Season 2 follows Punisher, which the first 4 episodes are amazing and terrifying because Punisher is literally ruthless. And what I like about this is that the thing I like most about Daredevil is the villains and their relationship with the hero, because essentially here you have Daredevil who wants to make the city better because his home, Hell's Kitchen, has become pretty much a shithole. And Kingpin wants to do the exact same thing. They share the same desire. Kingpin is more... But Kingpin has taken the worst traits from his father, even if he so desperately wants to prove to himself he's not a monster like him, but in a way he is, if not worse. But at the same time, Kingpin has a genuine empathy towards him, even if it's kind of hidden in self-entitlement, if that makes sense, which also Daredevil has at times, especially in Series 3. They both have empathy, but also this dark, selfish part about them that they have to overcome. With Kingpin, his gimmick, in a way, in the story is that he discovers love, and with Daredevil, his thing is that he learns to just suppress his darker sides and embrace connection and family, no matter how much his upbringing and trauma goes against that. So you have Daredevil who wants to improve the city and make it better, and you have Kingpin who wants to do the exact same thing. It's just that Kingpin is not against killing because he thinks, well, the ends justify the means. If we just assume he's okay with killing just as long as something looks beautiful, given the idea that, well, as long as it looks good and it's good for me, then it's good enough for everyone else because I'm the most important person. But of course, he wouldn't admit that to himself, even if that's pretty much the case. Daredevil, because Daredevil senses, he hears everyone's cries. He understands everyone, pretty much. He's able to tell when people are lying or whatever, you know? So he genuinely cares because he can't handle it when people are crying or in pain, because he can hear it just as strongly, if not stronger than they can. So, not to mention, he genuinely, throughout the series, he feels like he's been forced by God to do all these things, and especially in Series 3, where after he lost everything, he went, no, I'm not doing this for God anymore, I'm doing this because I want to. I don't know.
Reminds me of when you said, swear to God, don't swear to God, swear to me. You know, when
So, Punisher is also the same in a sense. Punisher is someone who lost his family due to crime, and Punisher, well, let's just say he wants to, you know, murder all the criminals in New York City, all the crime, because he's like, these people are too bad to exist, they have to be killed, otherwise it'll just keep happening over and over again. Daredevil doesn't do anything, all he does is beat them up, but eventually they'll just come back and get out of jail. It doesn't fix the problem. Punisher's like, the only way to fix it is just to kill them for good. Daredevil believes that everyone should be given a second chance, but Punisher disagrees with this. Because Punisher thinks, who fucking cares about giving these people a second chance when it risks having more innocents killed? It should just kill them to not have the risk exist in the first place. So who's right here, Punisher or Daredevil?
well, my whole fucking character arc is killed, so obviously you stupid nincompoop. I think upon it. You know, you are the type of person like that, aren't you?
The thing I like about this series is that it never gives us an answer to this. There's no right or wrong answer here. Like,
Oh.
because really now, what is it? It's a is it unethical or is it ethical? What is the solution here?
Well, first time I don't
Don't worry, but now series 3 has Bullseye as the villain. Shut up.
Come on, come
And
on.
I genuinely don't know if he's the best or villain in Daredevil, because he's all the villains, all the characters in Daredevil are perfect. Just saying, every single thing about this show is literally perfect.
Name one bad thing.
I can't. I guess series 2 could have focused a little more on Punisher's side, but he was literally just about to get his own show himself, so I can forgive it. Yeah, writing, directing, acting, literally everything about this show is fucking perfect in every single way.
Well, why don't you check it out?
Yeah, so, not to mention the fight scenes are probably the best in like, any superhero adaptation. This is the thing, I think it's the only thing that comes close to Raimi's fights in Spider-Man 2.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, that's alright. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so Daredevil, no, Bullseye in the series is fucking terrifying because he's a character with insane mental health issues. Like, he feels like someone who always he gets the impression that he always needs a motherly figure because he feels lost in the world, and he has an unnatural skill, and I genuinely kind of think he's like a mutant, to be honest, because he's able to throw anything so precisely that he's basically able to kill people with office supplies and stuff. And he ends up killing his coach as well, because, well, let's just say stuff happened in his childhood, and he has to go to therapy and stuff, and he's a character who lost his parents as well. Even if they were kind of abusive at times, he still misses them. He's just someone who feels unloved by people, so whenever he gets anyone to cling to, he's gonna cling to them and want their ultimate approval, no matter what. Of course, he's kind of good at hiding himself to seem normal, probably because he's been conditioned to do so. Given the idea that the therapy isn't actually helping him, but just teaching him to condition himself to fit into society instead of actually getting into the root of his issues and fixing them. And the thing I like about it is that he's a character who never really seems like he's evil. Like, even the way Kingpin uses him to his own means. Kingpin literally makes his life shitter on purpose just to support his own means to fuck over Daredevil. And even then, all that Daredevil does is use him himself. And yeah, he does do some pretty fucked up stuff, but I genuinely feel like he's literally incapable of understanding what he's doing wrong. Like, and it's just even sadder when he gets pretty much paralyzed Batman style due to Bane. So, yeah, he's a great villain, but at the same time, I don't think he's a villain, just a victim. He's like a representation of Daredevil and Kingpin's mental health issues, because they definitely have them, especially Kingpin. So, it feels like, and considering Daredevil Series 3 was all about Daredevil overcoming his kind of selfish, self-pitying, Lone Ranger style of basically being an asshole to everyone who cared about him, it's kind of fitting. Another thing I'll say, final touches on Daredevil, yeah, the series is perfect in every single way. He was alright in Defenders. He was alright in No Way Home. And, Ben Urich... I know. Ben Urich is awesome, you have no idea who that is, but He was also
Man with a plan.
he was a journalist in series 1, so it was interesting. But and then again, everyone in the story was interesting. Every character is. So out of everything I've reviewed here today, well, not today, but in this tier list thing, this is the show I recommend the most out of any other. Because, well, I suppose Spider-Man 1 is also up there,
Oh,
but
that's not showing it.
yeah, so fucking hell though, this show is just amazing. Honestly, I think it is the best superhero adaptation because in a sense, it's literally it does everything that Spider-Man 1 did well, but it does the same thing but as a show. I'm not going to say it does it better, though it could be argued that maybe it's just my bias because I really liked Spider-Man 1, but if I try to look at this only critically now, I guess Daredevil is pretty much the greatest superhero adaptation ever, period. Like, ever. Like, I do think it's actually underrated because even though most fans will agree with me on this, a lot of people don't actually know how good the show is.
Alright, what tier did you put it in?
S.
No, not S. I think that.
Oh yeah, guys,
I made
guys.
when you went looking, I made a tier above S called Daredevil.
Yeah.
Because you know how Morbius deserves his own below? Daredevil deserves his one above.
Yeah.
And look, right below, Spider-Man's looking at him. He's trying to climb up to the top. He's trying his hardest. Yeah, Daredevil had to have his own. I don't think he deserves to be an S. I think he deserves to have his own above.
So yeah,
Good job, Daredevil. You're amazing. Even though I haven't seen you, everything I hear about you is amazing.
I haven't even really begun to talk about it. The hallway fights are fucking amazing. Just everything about it, okay? Just literally everything.
Alright,
You
this
do
part's
need.
done.
I will say though, you do need a level of patience at times because the show is a bit slow. But to be honest, if you just pay attention and actually pay a fucking attention, you won't even notice this as a problem. Just fucking try to watch it and absorb the story. Because, yeah, it's amazing. Anyways, that's the end for the Daredevil review. Now we're gonna move on to the next thing, which... what is that?
Next, is it Moon Knight?
Is it? Go... Move it to the left a bit.
No, I know it is. It literally says Moon Knight there.
Alright. Okay. Alright. We'll see you next time. We're pretty much the polar opposite. Moon Knight. Yeah.